Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Factorio, shall we? Continuing our complete beginner's guide here in 2023. Here's our factory, and boy, I gotta tell you, I'm having so much fun starting a new factory and doing this guide, and there are just so many different things that I'd like to do right now, but we have to move slowly and, you know, take it bit by bit so that it all makes sense. I mean, I want to do research. I want to get metal processing better, on and on and on, but let's just go through the basics. So first of all, we hooked up electricity, okay, last time by building, our offshore pump. We built 2 boilers and we built 4 steam engines, which is the correct ratio for us to continue. We can build more engines, more boilers if we want more power. But how do we know how much power that we need? By the way, that singular pump, it either supports at least 10, it might be 20 boilers worth of water. So you don't need to build that many pumps. And I can't remember if it's 2 or 4 engines that are supported by each boiler. I believe it's 4, but we don't need that much power at the moment. And what's awesome is I'm bad with the numbers at this. I have to constantly check myself, but the game provides those for you. So check it out. If I click on this electric pole, it's going to tell us how much power, okay, we are producing. And let's look at this screen. It shows you how much we're consuming on the left, how much we're producing on the right. And then there's this bar up here, which is the satisfaction bar, okay? And the satisfaction bar is full, meaning it says here, amount of power currently being produced out of power required. So that means 100% satisfaction. It means everything that wants power is getting it. And then this is the total production that we're doing, okay? And so you can see right now that we actually can produce 3.6 megawatts, okay, or milliwatts of power, which is way more than the 12.6 kilowatts that we're using. Okay, so right now, all you really want to look at is this central bar if you want to just do it at a glance. And if this starts to fill up and up and up and get closer to the higher end, then you know that your power grid is going to need expansion because you're not producing enough power to support the demand. But right now, we're doing great. And then down here, you can see, okay, we're producing power from our steam engines. This is what they're producing right here. And then this is what's consuming power, these 21 inserters that we have. And as you get more devices producing and consuming, this list will populate and organize them. And you can do all sorts of things on organizing and filtering this data for yourself. So the game is replete with data to help you. And like I said, if you're forgetting the ratio of structures, you can either just look out for that online on a wiki, or you can just calculate yourself. Okay, if I mouse over this boiler, for example, you can see that you can see its output. You can see how much steam it's generating, and then you can see how much this steam engine can consume. Okay, and so if this is going to generate 60 per second, and these consume 30 per second, and perhaps it is only 2 to 1. But then again, I could be reading that wrong. And again, the best way to do it, and I know it sounds silly, but I just build it. And if it looks like it's not working, you can click on it. You can see that, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting diminishing returns, or, oh, this isn't sending enough steam, or this isn't sending enough water. And you just right click, pick it up, and redo. There's so much of the game that is exactly that. So that's how you understand how much power you have, and we have plenty. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to automate our metal a little bit more. So if you look at the factory core that we have a bus line, okay, that is sending coal this way. And then we have these 2 lines up here that are going to be major buses or arteries in our factory that are going to send copper and iron plates respectively down the line. But I'm also going to double dip with these because I want to put on these belts as well the the ore, copper ore and iron ore, to be smelted. Okay, so I'm going to talk in this episode about using both lanes of a belt for different items. Now, as a rule of thumb, you never want to combine two different types of item on the same lane of the belt, because it's going to lead to just all kinds of disaster within your factory, of inefficiency and gumming up the works, where you get the whole line backed up and there's ore in the way, or there's an item in the way that you don't need. But for right now, let's work on our path. So I'm going to go ahead and take transporter belts, and this ore that's in these boxes, I'm going to work on bringing up to this line. Okay, so I'm going to just control left click all of this stuff out, and I'm going to pick up these boxes, and I'm going to start building a conveyor belt, okay, that is going to collect this ore. Oop. And we're out of belts, so I'm going to need to make some more belts. So I'm just going to go over into logistics, and I'm going to just shift left click belt to make as many as I can. Now I've got to make the gears, so this is going to take a while, but while this is happening, I'm going to pick up all of this, and I'm just going to control and drop in as much ore as I've got. All right. Now, another trick that I can do if I want to just not waste time is give you a preview of what my intentions are. I'm going to put this box, okay, right here. And I'm going to take all of my ore and I'm going to dump it in there by just pushing control click like this. And there we go. And by there we go, I mean, I didn't do it. There you go. That's the easier way. If you actually open up the box and then control click from your inventory, it'll just grab everything of that type and dump it in there. I'm going to do the same thing up here again. And this is just proof of concept until I get the belts that I want. So I'm going to take all of this. I'm going to actually open this up and just control click all this copper ore. Then what I'm going to do is take some inserters. Okay. Now, if I put the inserter here, actually, let me show you this. If I put the inserter here, okay, it's going to start grabbing ore out of this and putting it on the top belt. But that's not what I want. I'm going to right click and pick this up. And the reason I don't want that is because I'm trying to use the top belt, the top lane of this belt only for copper plates. I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to pick up all of the ore out of there. I want to keep things organized. So what I have to do instead is actually build my box on this side, okay? And I have to do it this way because I want the arm will always drop the resource onto the opposing lane, the furthest lane from it. So if I go in here and I'm just like put all these in here, now you can see what's happening is this arm is putting it on the lower lane, the bottom lane from my perspective, and that's where I want it. I want the plates to go on top, and I want the ore to go down below. But we do run into this issue where this is grabbing these from me, and I don't want it to do that. So how do we stop that? Well, I'll show you. First of all, we need to build, here we go, another inserter. So remember that when we built this before, we had this dropping plates, okay? But we have something taking from this furnace, but not something grabbing from this conveyor. So now that we've got this going, this is grabbing copper and then dropping its output, all right? So it's on the bottom, it's grabbing coal, and on the top, it's doing both, okay? So we want to have this going, all right? And we need more inserters, and we can't build these without electronic circuits and iron gear wheels. So, well, this is certainly going to be a conundrum for us until we get these built. And this is just how it is at the beginning, so don't worry. You know, it just takes a bit of time to get all of this done. I'm going to go ahead and just grab all the plates that I can from here and grab all of these. And now Okay, I'm going to make a bunch of gears, and I'm going to make a bunch of circuits. Okay, so let's think again about getting this set. Now, whenever you see, if I put a box right here to like grab resources and stuff like that, that's usually a temporary stopgap. But sometimes I'll use those permanently so that conveniently, if I'm running back to my factory and I need something, like I need some copper plates, I know where to go run and just pick up a supply for myself. But usually what you want to do as you're building your factory is get this stuff not in your inventory, but into the inventory of a structure, a facility that can use the resource and craft it into something different or more advanced. Okay, so I have made all of this stuff, which will now allow me to make some inserters and some belts. Okay, so I'm going to make all the inserters, and I'm going to start making belts. And I'm going to make a ton of belts, but you see I'm going to start running out of gears. And this just gives you the idea that, you know what, we're going to need something to be automating gears for us, and we will get there. But for now, let me say, okay, if this is going to pull out, it's going to drop on the other side. Then by our previous experiment, we know that we can't do it that way. So for the time being, we need to put it like this. Okay, we need to go here, and we need to drop this in there. And now these are flashing power because they have no power. And we're going to get power for them in a moment. Right now we have none. All right, and I need to build some more circuits, but I don't have any cable because I have no plates. And so I'm going to grab some plates, and I'm going to make a bunch more circuits for myself by making the cable by hand. And while that's happening, okay, we can build some power poles. And remember, we're just going to grab the power and bring it down to here. Okay, and I need to bring some power here. I don't want any gaps, and there. Okay, so now we have power for all these inserters that we want to make, and I'm going to just start queuing up a ton of inserters as well. All right, now if I want anything here, let's see. Remember, what I like to do is organize my factory such that everything is visual. I can see I have plenty of copper plates. I mean, you know, for our purposes now, we're always going to need more plates of all kinds, but the coal is good. It's backed up. You see, there's no problem getting coal right now. All right, but we're going to need to, I need to get this, some power as well. There we go. So now this is going to start dropping for us, and we can now begin to put the inserters going both ways like that. So now we have all of these loaded up and ready to go. And you need iron ore, but you haven't received any yet, and we'll get there. And this one over here, we do need an inserter that is going like this. Okay, good. Now, as you can see, this inserter is moving too slow to really provide enough iron ore for the rate of consumption. Like visually, you can see it's going one by one very slowly, and then these are able to burn through the iron ore that it gets and start making a plate before any of these other furnaces down the line are even getting a shipment. And this is just a great way to see your efficiency and see your output and throughput and calculate, at least visually, you know, what's going on, where your gaps are. And right now our gaps are, we don't have enough ore at all because that inserter is too slow. But you know what's not too slow will be these belts. So we're going to continue to use this belt. Here we go. And I'm going to bring this belt up, okay? And with our structure right now, we want this belt, okay? I'm going to just set it up like this. We want this belt to drop off here. So I'm setting this up, and you kind of have to finagle this a little bit so that these belts don't try to connect with each other. But if you do it like this, okay, oops, here we go. Now I have a belt that is moving in the right direction for me, and I'm just going to build this all the way across, and one more, and then just, up there. Now you see, once this ore gets here, it's going to drop it off on this upper lane, so it keeps our ore on the top and our plates on the bottom, which is exactly what we want. Okay, and at this point, now you can see that these furnaces down the line are starting to get the ore that they want. But we are having problems here with coal. So this means that if we want to automate this, and so I don't have to run back and forth with coal, I'm going to actually need some coal down here. Okay, so I'm going to need to send coal down to this point. Now, I could try to take coal from my belt here, but I don't really want to. I'm okay with how this is going, and I need to get more technology to do some advanced things like split the lane and stuff like that. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pipette that by pushing Q, and I'm going to build a separate Q, a separate station. Okay. Here we go. And actually, you know what? I'm going to get rid of that. What we're going to build instead, we're going to build electric drills, okay? We're going to just get away from burners and use only electric drills. I'm going to build as many as I can. And the reason I'm doing this is I don't have to feed the electric drills with coal. I can just feed them with electricity, all right? So I'm going to grab everything that's in here, okay? So that's a ton of plates that I've received. And I am going to just temporarily, okay, I'm going to continue the bus over here. I'm going to temporarily draw out some plates into this box. Now, the reason I'm doing this, again, this is not tidy, this is not perfect, this is just temporary stopgap while I do more in my factory. But you see how this arm is just going to start loading this up with plates. It will get a little bit of iron ore, but it's not a big deal because this box is so big. But the reason I'm doing this is if these are all congested with plates and these furnaces don't have a place to set the plates because the arm is full, they will just stop making plates because they don't have a place to put it. So this way I guarantee that the production of plates continues. Now we're running low because these aren't producing enough ore because there's no electricity. So this is what we're kind of going to do here by using our electric drills. So I'm going to take our electric drills that we've made and I'm going to actually drop them onto my hotbar. I'm going to middle mouse button to get rid of that, and I'm going the burners and use electric instead. I'm just going to kind of put my electric, make sure that the yellow arrow is going where you want, and make sure on the right that your expected resources are nice and high. And like if I built it here, it's terrible. And if I move it up here, it's much better. So I'm going to build a couple. And by a couple, I mean 3. I'm going to connect these with electricity. Okay, but I don't want to block my conveyor. So I need to kind of build these like this. And then I'm going to start building belts down here. And these are immediately going to just start sending out coal. All right, and I need my coal to go here. Now these are, oops, okay. You see these on the map, these are cliffs, and you kind of have to get around the cliffs. You can later get technologies to circumvent them better than what we've got going right now, but this is fine. All right, so let's just go ahead and start sending some coal over this way. Uh-huh. Okay, so now you can see I have an automated coal line. It's just kind of snaking up through this iron ore patch. And now if I simply build inserters that are going to grab the coal off the line and give it to my drills, then we're good to go. Okay? Now, of course, I could just replace all of these with electric drills, and that's what I'm going to do at the copper node so that I'm not having to send this out. But I'm just giving a demonstration of how to use both electric and burner, okay? just depending on what you personally want to do. All right. And again, it's super easy to replace this down the road. But now, look at this. Just build some power poles, and voila. These are working again, and they've got plenty of ore. And if I really want to get fancy with this, I can just pipette this and put a drill on the other side here to get some going on the other lane. All right, so now you see this is going to be a double lane of coal going down to our iron ore. Now, the reason this is useful is because, yeah, I have some iron ore being made here, but is this enough? Well, probably not. We're probably going to want even more, okay? So we'll get those going in a moment, because you can see this furnace here is barely getting enough. So this game is, at least for me, what I like to think about it as is a balancing act. It's like I just look at the demands of my factory based on what I'm building, and then I have to go and shore up everything to make sure that the distribution and the output of each level of my factory is sufficient. So you go from the ground up. You need things like coal for certain activities, and you need things, okay, like electricity, and you need ore, and you need plates, and so you just eyeball, okay, where am I lacking? And you have to go back, build up that area of your factory, and then once everything is running smoothly, you can start to expand. So it's kind of like walking that line, working with that equilibrium. Now look at this. We're running low on electricity because our buddy needs coal. And so what that means is we're going to have to get coal over to our pump, because, I'm sorry, not our pump, but our boilers, because it has no power itself. So let's go ahead. I'm just holding F right here. If you are really close to something and you see the box over it when you mouse, you can push F to just kind of pick it up. So I just picked up a bunch of coal because I need to go and drop off into this boiler. It's out of power, and you can tell that by the flashing red sign. Okay, so I'm going to run over here, and I'm just going to give this as much coal as it will take. All right, and I'm going to give this one as much coal as it will take. But these need coal, so let's just go backward. Okay, so I'm just going to run a line here, and we're going to have some inserters that grab like this, and we need to build a power pole down here for them like that. And so now they'll grab any coal that's on this line, but we're going to have to build a massive conveyor over here, right? And that's fine. That's the name of the game. I'm telling you, as you play Factorio, every single time I boot it up and I start playing, I just have to make my mind larger every time, because if I ever underestimate, like, you know, how ridiculously big my factory needs to be, the game will teach me that, oh, I was thinking too small. It needs to be larger than that. And if you think that this is a ridiculous conveyor belt, well, it is long, but you're going to have longer ones, and then you're going to need to go even bigger distances and use different types of transportation to do that. I need this tree anyway. All right. And actually, what I'm going to do, as you can probably tell, is I'm just going to connect it to my iron coal line. All right. And I need more of these, but I need plates. And so I'm just going to go ahead and grab all my plates that I've made. And we're going to go ahead and build I'm going to shift left click and build as many as I can. But I'm out of gears. And that's frustrating, to be so low on gears. And we're going to need to start automating gears as soon as we possibly can, because crafting all of this stuff by hand is, you know, tedious is one way to describe that. But we're making much better progress. We haven't done very much, unfortunately, with our copper sector at all. I will return this here so that these can work through the rest of what they've got. But we need to bring the copper ore over, and we'll get to that eventually. Now, what do we need to do if we want to automate gears, okay? If you want to automate something like a gear, just mouse over it, and you see it takes 2 plates, okay? So I can make that. But if you want a facility that makes that, all right, you can go into your production area, and we cannot build the assembler yet. This is something that we're going to need to make if we want to automate circuits and cable and wheels and sticks. So we're going to need to figure out how to build more structures. And to do that, we're going to need to start building laboratories. And by extension, producing red science. So this is the kind of scramble at the beginning of the game, is getting enough of this automated so that we can graduate to the next tier of technology. And now you see this double line of coal is eventually going to provide all the coal we need for our power up here. Okay, so that's good. Now we finished that part. Now the other thing I want to do is I need more iron. I'm not satisfied with my iron output, so I'm going to build some more drills, but I'm going to make these electric drills at this point. Okay, but we run into a problem, and the problem is that our belts can't cross paths right now, and we don't have a way of getting around this problem with the technology that we have. So instead of messing with that, I'm going to work on building science so that we can get some more quality of life features. But let's get ahead and get our copper taken care of as well. All of these extractors or these drills, these burners are out, okay? So, you know, I'm going to just pick these up, and we're going to use electric up here anyway. There's nothing here for us. We don't need these boxes. We're going to build this. And this is a good place. That's 10K, 16K. 23K, even better as we go. All right, and we're going to start bringing copper down. And I'm just going to walk this over. Now, you can zoom way out to make this easier on yourself. And we're just going to take this copper conveyor, and we need to drop it on the inside of this line right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Uh-huh. And yeah, we need it a little bit further. Okay. And to make sure that I do this right, I'm actually going to come around the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop it here. If you try to put this line, this conveyor line right here, okay, like you want to drop onto it, you'll notice it automatically connects them. And so you need to have one overlap tile of conveyor like this so that you can just smoothly drop your... these are not going the right way. Stuff on the line without having them automatically want to connect. All right, and then now we'll just run this up. And here we go. Okay, so this is ready to send us copper, and it'll go to the right place. But now we need to make electricity come up here, and we're like way behind on our poles, and we don't have wire, so we're going to have to craft that by hand, but it's fine. And I'm going to go ahead and just grab all of these plates from both of these boxes and put as many plates in my inventory as I can, because these are the basic things that I'm going to be crafting with all the time. All right, now remember we want this to go maximum distance to connect like this. And then I'm just going to hold this so I can start bringing power over at the max distance. And then there we go. So now copper's coming in. Now I probably want more than that. So let's go ahead and make like 5 more drills. Okay? And while we're doing that, we can also queue up 5 labs. Okay. So we've got power coming over here. We've got copper coming in. And we should start getting more plates of both kinds. So this is actually a really good start for us. And of course, this is just basic stuff. This is just me explaining concepts to you and showing you some ideas about automation, but this isn't perfectly optimized, and you might cannibalize and completely gut and reorganize your entire factory. I do this all the time. When I get new technology, when I mentally get a new idea for how I want to organize things, but what you want is to have a basic setup going so that you're at least producing raw materials for yourself that you can use to expand with later, okay? So right now I've got all this copper ore. I'm going to drop it in. Now while we're waiting for things to build, another thing to think about is our inventory, okay? So like, for example, these burner mining drills, I might never use these again. So I'm just going to go into this box right here, and I'm going to pick these up and put them in here just to free up an inventory space. If you find yourself with something that you think you might never need, then put it here. But usually you'll, need all your stuff in some capacity, but it shows up right here. You can always get it back. It's never going to despawn or anything like that. So you can just store it there just to free up some inventory. Now, I've got my drills done, so I'm going to build some more to increase my copper output. And I'm going to just, I'm going to make some on kind of up here. All right, 12K, 16K, good. And I'm just going to produce 6 for now and see how this does. And remember, you'll always need to scale up and make this more expansive. But this is how I'm going to do this at the moment. If we need more, we come back and we build more. Now, I'm going to do the same kind of strategy where I'm going to just have this come around here and then drop off onto this other lane so that I'm using 2 lanes for my copper. Now, these don't have power, so we just, pipette the power pole and bring it up there like this. And now we have 6 drills going for copper, which is great. Okay. So we've built copper, and it's coming in. You could see that all of these almost are firing away, producing, and like this one is full. The reason it's not producing right now is because it's just full of plates. And so if I just take plates from these, we're good. This has backed up so significantly because we're not using plates that it can't even make anymore. So let's go ahead and get that going. And then now we're good there. Let's see and make sure that these are empty. Fantastic. Okay. So what do we want to do now? Well, the main thing I want is to build laboratories. So I've already built 5 of them, and I'm just going to pick these up, and I'm going to put them down on my hotbar. And we're going to make a separate area for science, okay? So right here, I'll just build my science. This is fine. This is fine for now. I'm going to build science like this, okay? And this is a lab. Now, in a lab, what we want to do is make we want to use red science to do research. I'm going to go push T, and let's select research. The number one research that we want to do is automation. We want to be able to make these assemblers. So this is what we want. And we're just going to click Start Research to queue this up. All right. So it's going to look like this building. And you can see on the research screen all of these yellow possibilities in the list of technologies. We can make, and it tells you at the bottom panel what type of science it needs. These all need red packs. So we can make red packs, no problem. So we're going to start producing these to research this, and we queue this up. And on the right, you can see the whole tech tree. You can see, for example, that if we research automation, then we can go into electronics, which will open up this tree and on and on and on down. And it goes over, and we can make lights, we can make gun turrets, we can make walls, guns, logistics, which is going to be phenomenal to make splitters, steel processing, green science, but we want to start right here. I've queued it up and we're at 0%. The reason we're at 0% is because we're not researching. You can see in the upper right, the research panel has changed to automation. Now this wants to research, and you can see it's built in right here, but it says it's missing science packs. So we need to start sending this red science packs. So I'm going to build the start of that and say, okay, it would look like this. Let's get some power over here like this. Now everything's here except the red science. Well, what does it take to make red science? It takes copper plates and iron gear wheels. So I'm going to just start making a ton of this by hand. And it's not glamorous, but it will do. All right? Now, while that's happening, I think it's a good idea for us to start getting some stone. So there's a stone pile over here, so might as well just kind of use the power that exists and take the electric mining drills that we have, and just kind of turn these on. And even if we don't plan on stone now, we're going to need it, but might as well just go ahead and get a bunch of stone. So I'm building like a little makeshift temporary area to build stone and store it. So these guys are just going to drill up stone, and this guy arm is going to put them into this box. This box is enormous, and so we can just have a bunch of stone being drawn. Now if you click on our power, you can see, look, our production, now we're actually using a lot of power compared to what we were, but still only, you know, about 25% of what we're making. So we have plenty of power. We're fine on that. But again, just keep your eye on that. If you start to see things not working, that's one of the things you want to look at and be like, hey, what's going on here? Oh, that's why. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. I don't need this extra box over here at the moment. Okay. So this is doing great. We're getting, you know, just an absolute ton of plates being made. I'm going to pick these up. I'm going to pick up these plates, and this is fantastic. Okay, so have we made any science packs yet? We have. So here we have 20. You can see at the in the bottom, I'm like crafting all of these science packs. I have to make the gears, and then I have to make the science packs. But if I take these science packs, okay, put them in my hand and drop them into this facility, okay, just control click it, it's going to start using them. Now, this is a cool thing about labs. I'm going to build another lab here, and I'm going to build another lab here, and I'm going to build another lab here, and then one more like that. Now, why am I doing that? Because labs can actually daisy chain their resources. So you'll see that this guy wants to use red science, but he can only use a little bit at a time. And so if he has too many, then he can pass his red science up the chain. And so this is a great way to get science distributed. And this is how you can build a chain. Now, after a while, this chain will start to get diminishing returns. So, you know, you don't want to do this. I think 4 is actually where it's at, but 5 is fine just for our purposes. But if you start to see that you are chaining and you're not getting science, you're going to need to start a new batch of labs. And you will have lines and lines and lines of labs kind of going through and just collecting science. And over here in the upper right, you'll see this flashing. It says automation finished. And that means we did it. We made automation. So the next thing I want immediately is logistics. I'm going to click Start Research. Okay? Because this is going to allow us to build underground conveyors and splitters. Underground conveyors will help us solve this problem of this belt being in the way, and splitters will help us divide our resources much more cleanly when we want to merge lanes or diverge from lanes. So these are 2 hugely important things for us. Okay, so we're researching logistics, and you can see up here, these guys are just burning through red science to research logistics. But if I look at my power, you'll notice I'm consuming a lot more power. These labs start to get, you know, pretty heavy in their power consumption. But what we've now done, you see in the upper left, there's an exclamation point badge for these tabs into crafting, which tell us we can build a new structure. And right here, we can build assembling machines now. Now, these take gears, but I'm going to go ahead and right-click all of the remaining science that I have queued up down in the bottom, and that just cancels it, because I want to start building assembling machines as fast as possible. Okay? So what we're going to get into next is building assembling machines so that we can just make cable, and we can make gears, and we can make circuits and sticks, and even red science all on its own and not have to craft it by hand, so that we can run around and start doing other things for our factory. We also learned how to make long-handed inserters, which are amazing and will help us even more to facilitate this small factory that we've built, because what these allow you to do is take and deposit an extra tile away. So the red handled inserter can, for example, if I wanted to pull a plate out, I could actually put it up here and build a conveyor line on top of this line and have the red inserter put it further away. And it can draw from 2 away. So, but it can actually draw from this right next to it, or even from 1 tile away. So we'll talk about that and assemblers next time. But everybody, we brought in huge conveyors. We've got stone, copper, electric drills, and we've even got research happening. And look at this. We just finished logistics. Beautiful. All right, awesome. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're still finding this useful and informative. Take care.